They say some houses are haunted, some are cursed. But this house was alive. We moved in because it was cheap. Looking back, it was too cheap for a place this big, this grand. The real estate agent, I remember, kept smiling this wide. Fake smile, always avoiding my eyes. When I asked about the history of the house, about previous owners, he just shrugged and said something vague about privacy. He couldn't get out of there fast enough after handing us the keys. The neighborhood itself was strange. At night, it felt completely deserted, like a ghost town. It was as if everyone living around us knew a secret we didn't, and they were all staying far, far away. The first night was quiet. Unnaturally quiet. The kind of silence that presses in on you, making your ears ring. And then, at exactly 3:11 a.m., I heard it breathing. It wasn't my wife, and it wasn't a pet. It was coming from the walls. A slow, deep, rhythmic sound, like some enormous creature was asleep all around us. And dreaming. That's when the hallway lights started turning on, one by one, in a slow, deliberate sequence, moving from the far end of the hall directly toward our bedroom door. I reached over to shake my wife awake, but her eyes were already wide open in the dark. She was just staring at the ceiling, completely still. She whispered, her voice trembling, "It knows we're here." Things only got stranger from there. Later that night, I went into the bathroom. I looked in the mirror, splashed some water on my face, and when I looked back up, my reflection, it didn't move with me. For a split second, it just stayed there, head down. Then it slowly looked up, and it smiled. A slow, cold smile that wasn't mine. When it spoke, the voice that came out of its mouth belonged to my wife. It was her exact voice, but flat and dead. I didn't even hear what it said. I just turned and ran back to the bedroom, but the door slammed shut right in my face, the sound echoing through the house like a gunshot. Panic started to set in. We grabbed our phones. We had full signal bars, a perfect connection. But every call we tried to make just echoed. My own panicked voice would come back through the speaker a second later, distorted, as if the call was being answered from inside the house itself. It felt like the house wasn't just blocking our calls. It was intercepting them, playing with us. We ran to the windows, but they wouldn't budge. The front door, the back door, every exit was locked solid, the deadbolts sliding into place on their own. The air in the house grew thick and heavy, almost warm. And that breathing sound from the walls. It was getting faster, desperate for any kind of explanation. I went down to the basement. The air down there was cold and smelled of damp earth and something else. Something metallic. The old stone walls were covered, absolutely covered, in handprints. But they weren't on the surface. They were pressed from the asterisk inside asterisk of the walls, pushing out, as if dozens of people were trapped within the very foundation, their palms still pressed against the stone, still trying to get out. And there, in the center of the concrete floor, one word was carved deep into the surface, the letters sharp and angry. Stay. That night was when the house started copying us. It was learning. We'd hear our own voices calling to each other from empty rooms. "Honey! Are you in here?" I'd hear my wife ask from the kitchen, but I knew she was right beside me. Footsteps would follow us down the hallway, always just a few paces behind. But when we'd spin around, there was nothing there. The house was practicing. It was trying to become us. And then, at exactly 3:11 a.m. again, our bedroom door creaked open. Something was standing in the doorway. It was tall, impossibly tall, its silhouette wrong and jagged in the dim light. Its face kept shifting, melting and reforming. 1 second it was my face, then my wife's, then the faces of complete strangers I'd never seen before. All flickering like a broken television screen. It spoke, and its voice was soft, almost kind, a soothing, gentle tone that made the hairs on my arms stand up. "You're safe here," it said. "You don't need to leave." That's when the walls began to move. Not just a feeling, but a physical closing in. The ceiling seemed to lower, the space around us shrinking. And the breathing, that horrible, deep breathing became a deafening roar. It was hungry. Suddenly, for just a single, inexplicable second, the entire house blinked. All the lights went out. The sound stopped. The pressure vanished. It was our only chance. We didn't think. We just ran. We burst through the front door, which was now unlocked, and didn't stop running until the sun came up. We left everything behind, our clothes, our memories, our entire lives packed in boxers. We never went back. But the house isn't done with me. Sometimes, late at night, my phone will ring. The screen is always blank. No number, no caller ID. When I answer, there's no one on the other end. There's just silence. And then, that slow, deep breathing. And after a moment, a voice that sounds exactly like mine whispers into my ear, "It's time to come home."